All right, what is going on, guys? I just wanted to make a quick recap on the trade that I took today. It was a loss. I noticed a lot of people did take this loss as well, which kind of made me feel better. Um, but it was an avoidable loss. So I'm just going to go into the reasons why I took it and also why I shouldn't have taken it. On NQ, we had great manipulation. We manipulated Asia lows down here in a 15-minute. So now I'm immediately looking for longs once we get that. And then we have a 5-minute and a 1-minute close at the exact same time. So now I have great manipulation, a great entry, and obviously in in my mind at the time, I was thinking like I would just target this high, and then obviously we would want to run these highs as well because this is a bit of low resistance liquidity, and that isn't a good idea. So the way that this plays out is obviously you lose immediately, and it's because the draw was weak. You had good manipulation, a good entry, but the draw wasn't really there. And like at the time, it kind of looked like it was, but it really wasn't at all. So, you can that just goes to show you can have great manipulation, you can have a great entry, but if you don't have the draw, then it's just not going to be a good trade. And that's to go with everything as well. You could have a great draw, great manipulation, but if you don't see your entry, then you just can't really take the trade. Right? I didn't see this issue at the time, but that is in hindsight kind of what fucked me. And we also were at the CE of this leg. So typically in continuations, you're going to want to see a retest of this middle point and then go back down. You don't really want to look for longs at that middle point because that's a sign where we could still reverse from this level. So that was, those were the reasons I took it. Great manipulation, great entry model, but there was no draw. So there was really no context because the draw does add majority of the context to the trade. And I think that this is important because some people might have looked at this and thought, oh, like I'm an idiot, or, they thought maybe it was just not the trade that maybe they're blaming the market or whatever. But the two reasons that this lost was we were at the CE and we were targeting a protected high. So the narrative of the trade was off. And it's really that simple. Um, yeah, these mistakes can happen, but it's really nothing to dwell on. One of my issues today is I actually I don't want to say overtraded because I still was within my risk. I'm gonna have to refresh this. But I took two other trades and they were both break even. They were lower probability trades just because they were so late in the day. I was kind of forcing them, so that could have made me lose a lot more than I just did on this setup, right? So I still made the mistake of trading shitty trades after this loss, but good thing I didn't lose. But that just goes to show, if you take one trade and lose for whatever reason, whether it's a method error, a statistical loss, or whatever, an emotional mistake or anything like that, as long as you manage your risk, you take one loss, you get off the charts, and you learn from it, then you can take a winning day out of that because winning days have nothing to do with money at all. It's all about if you executed your edge properly. And that's something that I've been taking, putting into my trading a lot more because you really can't focus on money. Because at the end of the day, if you have a 70% win rate, then obviously you're going to have some losses. You can't win every single trade setup. It's just, you have to accept those losses. And if you tie your confidence and your like emotions to a green or red day, then that's just fragile confidence. And that's something I've been working on because you can't have fragile confidence. It's just not going to be sustainable over long term. So you have to make sure that a winning day is classified as if you executed properly. Today, I didn't execute properly, right? So that's okay. But I'm making sure that I understand what actually went wrong with this trade. And I'm doing the best I can to take a win from that, right? Because any loss that you don't learn from, that's a loss for sure. That's a loss. But if you lose like this, manage your risk. You can always get back another opportunity. So that just something to consider. Don't make stupid decisions and continue to trade all this bullshit. You should know by then that we're probably not going to get a good trade set up. So I think I'm going to end the video there. I could talk for a while. I have a few different videos I do want to create because there's so many concepts that I'm going into in terms of psychology, because this is really all psychology at the end of the day. Um, it's easy, but it's hard. You do have to transform your brain a bit, and that's what I'm going through. And I think that that could be helpful to a lot of people. So I'm going to make some videos and shit on that. And yeah, but this was the trade recap. Let me know if you guys took this trade. You probably didn't. It wasn't that many people, but it was a good enough amount where I could make this video. So let me know in the comments if you guys took this or not, or you want to say why it maybe should have won, should have lost, whatever. Yeah. All right. So until the next time.